Hello and welcome to How to Make More Sales with me, Anna Payne, supporting you to make more sales in a way that feels good for you and your clients. If you're ready for more sales, more impact, more success and more money on your terms, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to the podcast. Now, every single year about this time, I hear people saying sales are really hard over summer or nobody buys over summer. Now, I want to challenge that. I recognise that selling over summer can be different, but I think what often happens is that people believe that nobody will buy over summer, so they stop selling. They stop talking about their services, they stop making offers, they stop following up, they stop sending sales emails. They basically stop showing up in a sales focused way. And then because they've stopped taking sales action, they make fewer sales. And then of course that becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy. They can look at the lack of sales and say, yeah, absolutely, nobody buys over summer. We just double down on that opinion. But I don't think that that's evidence that nobody buys over summer. Actually, that's evidence that when you stop selling, you are less likely to make sales. So today I want to give you a different way to think about summer sales, because people do buy over summer in all sorts of industries. Yes, if you sell deck chairs or ice cream or beach ball, you might think summer is your bumper season, but we can sell anything over summer with the right strategies and actions. And that is what I want to share with you today. And the whole point I really want you to take from this episode is that of course you can sell over summer, and I want to give you some really practical strategies and ideas to do that. So I know that summer is not exactly the same as every other part of the year. For a lot of people it's not. Your potential clients might be on holiday, children are off school, routines are changed, people are dipping in and out of work, decision making might sometimes take a little bit longer. And your own capacity can change for all of these reasons too. And that is certainly true for me. I think my clients are probably less focused, they're probably less available, but me too. Over summer, I do like to take a lot of time off. I like to travel, I like to enjoy holidays, I like to have time away or days out with my kids. I like to go and sit on the beach when we get the opportunity with the weather to do that. I definitely don't want to be in the office 5 days a week, and I don't want to be on 24/7. So I don't want a sales strategy that's going to require me to do that. I think the question that we should be asking ourselves is, what sales strategy can I put in place that will make sense for summer? And that will reflect your summer life, but also what's going on for your clients too. So let's get into it in this episode. We'll break down some action points to help you maximize your sales over the summer, but done in a way that you get to enjoy your summer too. So you can enjoy your summer and still make money. I'm also going to share some of my tactics and strategies to be able to take big chunks of time off while keeping sales coming in. And before recording this episode, I looked back at my own figures over the last few years. And listen, July and August, every year, they have been perfectly respectable sales months in my business. They've not necessarily been the biggest months of the year, but they have certainly been normal or even slightly above average months. There's no big dip, and I'm recording this in June, and June 2026 has been my highest cash month of the year in terms of cash in, but it's also been my highest month of new sales made this year. So June has been off to a flyer. So I'm not going to go into July and August assuming that everything will stop. I'm going into July and August with a plan for that to continue, and I want to help you think about how you can do the same. First of all, I want to introduce to you the concept on how I think about taking time off over summer. If you imagine a light switch, and the light switch, it's either on or it's off, it's just a flick of a switch. But if I go out to my kitchen, the lights in there are on a dimmer switch, so it can be really bright or it can be all the way down or anywhere in between. So for the summer, my kids are off for 6 weeks, and what I think about is that for some of that time I will be off. The switch is flicked off or the dimmer is down at 0. That might be for a week or for 2 weeks if we've got a family holiday. For the rest of the time, I might not be fully off, but I will be dialed down to somewhere between 10 and 20% of my normal working capacity for the rest of that time. And that means that in that time, I do two things. I focus on income generating tasks, so things that I need to do to make sales and keep my pipeline building and converting, and I focus on client delivery. and a lot of noise and other stuff I just don't commit to. That gets cut out because my time off and my time with my family is too precious, and I know that I'm dialing down to that 10 or 20 capacity, and my diary is blocked out like that from January of the year. If you haven't done that yet, it's not too late. Just have a look at your diary and see what is possible for you and decide what number can you dial down to. Lots of people say, well, I can't dial down to 0 for 6 weeks. You don't have to, but could you dial down to 50%? Could you dial down to 70% or 80%? What does that look like for you? When we have less time, we don't necessarily achieve less. We are more focused, we're working more quickly, we really focus on the stuff that matters, and we eliminate the things that don't matter. And it also encourages us to take imperfect action, perhaps to let go of that need for perfection, and get a little scrappy in your sales and marketing. Like, I really don't mind that at all. So thinking about MVP, minimum viable product, over bells and whistles. So let me tell you a little story. So last summer, my husband was working, my daughter was off to Switzerland with the Scouts. It was just me and my son. We booked a last minute Monday to Friday break. We went to Tenerife and we went up the volcano and we did stargazing, and we went out on a boat and we saw whales and dolphins. But it was just a very short break, just the two of us, but it was magical, it was wonderful. But I wanted to bring in some extra cash, so I got quite scrappy with it, I have to say. I made a Google Doc that explained that I was putting out, you could work with me for 4 one-to-one sessions over 30 days, and in that time we were going to really focus on your sales strategy and your plan. We were going to look at offers, pricing, lead gen, client acquisition, upsells and lifetime value over that 4 weeks together. We were really going to get you moved forward in that accelerated time frame. It was like a 1-page Google document with a bit of detail in it. It had a link in it to a very basic checkout. The checkout didn't really have sales copy on it, I don't think. It certainly didn't have my logo or branding or images or graphics or colours. And that was it. And I threw together an email that talked about this 30-day sales accelerator, and I put it out to my list and made some version of that into a social media post. Now, I did all of that in the morning before my sister came to pick us up and take us to the airport. It really didn't take me very long, and I just sent that email to my list. Now, I live about a 15-minute drive away from Edinburgh Airport. I think my sister picked me up at 12:15, and I think I sent the email at like 12:14. It was proper last minute scrappy sales. But by the time I got to the check-in desk at Edinburgh Airport, my first sale had popped up on my phone. Somebody had bought that offer. We then made our way to the departure gate. Another sale was in. Amazing. Arrived in Tenerife and switched the phone back on, found another sale, and found a message from a previous client saying, I don't want this offer, but actually, here's what I do want from you. Can you help me with this? Fantastic. And then I think I repurposed the email into a Facebook post, put that up, and then that got my additional sale in. So that kind of scrappy MVP, and I'm not talking about scrappy minimal viable product, like the clients don't get a good deal. The clients got a great service, just the normal service that they would get, but the marketing wasn't perfect. You know, it wasn't beautifully designed, but that actually didn't matter because the offer was good. So let go of that idea of perfection and think about when you have limited time to work because you're dialed down to 10 or 20% capacity, but you want the sales to come in and you want the cash to come in. What can you let go of to make sure that that happens? Because most people will let go of the selling, but actually that means that you then lose the cash. So getting scrappy, thinking about your dimmer switch and where you want to be on that switch and what feels realistic and good for you. But then also think about what feels good and what feels easy. So in October, we booked a last minute family holiday. I still had quite a lot of things that I wanted and needed to do. So actually in the morning, we would get up, go for our breakfast, go down to the beach, get our sun loungers on the beach. And actually I would just spend between 10 and 20 minutes, the first 10 and 20 minutes on the beach, just doing sales first. And that might be a post on social media to generate leads or start conversations. It might be some follow-up. It might be a quick email that I could tap out in the notes app on my phone and then just send to my list with a link to something. But because at that time there was too much going on in the business, it was too busy and it had been a last minute break, and I knew that if I went, I couldn't just down tools altogether. I probably had to stay somewhere between 10 and 15% in thinking about that dimmer switch. I just did it in the morning, every morning, and actually I loved it because I don't mind doing it, especially when you're sitting on a sun lounger looking out to sea doing it. But what was really good about it, doing it first thing, is that I found that through the day sales were popping in or people were coming back to me with really good conversations. And actually I love what I do, so that enhanced my holiday. So be mindful of your time. Do you want to do sales first on a sunbed if you're away? If we're not away but we're having a day over at the beach, I'll just take my phone with me and I'll just sit, for the first 10 or 20 minutes that we get there and do some bits and pieces there, and then I switch off and relax and enjoy the rest of the day. Or when you are the passenger in a car, or when you have a plane journey and you can tap lots of things out ready to just hit send on when you arrive. But think about when you've got pockets of time that it feels good for you to do these income generating tasks. So that's how it works for me in my business. Take from that what you will and apply that to your own business over summer. And I think it's so important to really be thinking about how do you get that good mix of lots of time for you, time to rest, recharge, time to enjoy, time with your family, time to do what matters most to you, but without sacrificing revenue and sales and opportunities. Right, now I've given you those concepts, I'm going to give you some actions. First thing I want you to do is to decide what are you going to sell over summer, and keep it simple. Choose something that makes sense for your business, your clients and your capacity. So that might be just your normal service that you sell all year round. It could be a shorter version of your usual work. So for me, my one-to-one packages were usually 3 months, but doing this 30-day thing, it was great because I knew that come September I was going to get really quite busy again. But I had time to take on 4 of these people on these 30-day packages. So that made sense. That's why I sold those things. So it could be a shorter version of your usual work. It could be a special summer package or a bundle, a one-off intensive, a one-to-one day. But the other thing that works really well is that you can pre-sell things for September. So just like in November and December, almost all of the things that I sell are pre-selling things for January and February. But in July and August, if you don't have a lot of space and capacity for delivery, just pre-sell what you're going to do for September. Incentivize people or create urgency if you've got genuine scarcity, genuine limited availability. You can create urgency around that, or you can create urgency by adding value or adding a bonus if people want to pre-book things. So it needs to be things that are going to be easy and fairly light touch but enjoyable for me to deliver over the summer, as well as serve my audience by giving them a good outcome and result. So I'm thinking strategically, number one, what does my audience most need right now? What can I help them with? What can I support them with? And number two, what works with my actual capacity. So that's what I mean by have a summer friendly offer. The next thing I want you to think about is how you position that offer, how you make it timely and relevant. You might just need a new angle. So you sell the same thing that you always sell, but you just change the positioning. So what's inside the bottle is still the same, but the label on the outside is slightly different because it's summer. So when they buy, they think, yeah, that is exactly what I need at this moment. So for example, I've been to the beautician today with my holiday prep. If I was a beauty therapist, from June till September, I'd bundle together a summer holiday bundle that includes maybe nails, pedicure, waxing, brows, lashes, tan, and I'd maybe give an incentive. It might be a bit cheaper if you buy all the things together, or if you don't want to discount, maybe you add something. You add like a free massage or after sun facial post-holiday that people can go back for, or you give away a free travel collection, skincare or hair care products. So you're adding value. So ask yourself, what is your audience thinking about over the summer with regards to what you do? What are they worried about? What are they hoping for? What would they love to have right now, or what would they love to sort out for September? What do they need, and how can you best help them? So that's where you can create really good positioning of your offer to make it feel timely and relevant. So for example, I might say, get your sales strategy sorted before September. Create your have to sales plan now, or reset your offer suite and your pricing ready for September launching. So that's what I mean by changing the label. The substance of what you offer might be the same, but the way you position it, the messaging, just makes it timely. And it's really simple. Over summer, why now matters. Why should somebody buy this in July? Why should they buy it in August rather than wait until later in the year? Why is it useful now? And if you can answer that question, then absolutely your offer becomes easier to sell and more relevant for the people that you are selling it to. Next step, create one really simple sales asset. And this is where we start to get into kind of making it easier for yourself. Because if your selling only works when you are online every day, booking discovery calls, replying manually, explaining everything over and over again in voice notes and text, answering the same questions, looking for links, that makes it harder for you. So think about how can you make it low lift. So things that you create once and then use repeatedly. It might be a simple sales page. It might be a checkout link with information on it, a booking page, like me with my pre-Tenerife one-to-one offer last summer. It might be a Google Doc or a short email sequence that goes out, an expression of interest application form that people can complete. You just need to be able to make the next step clear to people in an easy way that you can just share the link and they know exactly what to do. And this is where a lot of people, I think, lose sales. So they'll talk about their offer in their content. Somebody might be interested, but there's no link, there's no clear information or price, there's no sort of simple next step. And actually when people are already distracted, they're travelling, they might be reading your email from the beach or from soft play or from a train or from their kitchen while they're doing their washing, whatever it is, people are a wee bit out of routine. So we want things to be frictionless and easy. And the more we can make it frictionless and easy, the easier it is for them to buy. So having that simple sales asset where you can just have the link to whatever it is, that's why I love a Google Doc with a checkout link, having that saved in the Notes app in your phone, and you just copy and paste and you send it to everybody who is interested. Super simple. Next, you want to put the offer where people can find it. It's visible. So is that a pinned post? Is it in your stories every day, your bio link, your email footer, your website, your work with me page, anywhere that somebody might naturally go when they're already semi-interested in you and your business? It's such an easy win. So a really practical thing that you could do once you've decided what you're selling and what the sales asset is just to take half an hour and work out where does this need to be, and then just spend half an hour adding it in. And then people are seeing that naturally as they are going through your ecosystem. Number 5, write and schedule just a simple summer sales sequence. So 3 emails or 5 emails across a week or 10 days, each one with a call to action and a link. And in those emails, you can hit different angles, different ideas, different reasons that people should buy the same thing. So you might explain the offer, how it works. You kind of go with the emotional angle, then you share some proof, you do some FAQs. But each one, you can write it in advance, you can schedule it, and then they go out, people read them, people click the links, and actually that happens without you having to do anything because it's been scheduled in advance. And when you are at your desk, you just look at your email provider and you look to see who's clicked the links. They clicked the link 3 times, but they've not bought yet. That's absolutely somebody that's got to go onto your follow-up list. And then that's unsurprisingly next in my list of actions for you. Follow up with people. And you probably knew that I was going to say this if you are a long-time listener, because I really believe that your best summer sales are probably much closer than you might think. They probably already know you, like you, and trust you. They might already be in emails in your inbox. They'll be in your DMs, names in your Stripe account when you look at past clients, people who inquired earlier in the year, people who worked with you before and might be ready to do something again, maybe people who almost bought but for whatever reason they didn't. Summer can be a really good time to reconnect with these people. So make a hot list, 20 warm people, or 30, or 50 if you have them, and then just commit to spending 15 minutes a day reconnecting, sending them a message. Hey Anna, how are you? I hope you're having a great summer. I know we spoke earlier this year about me helping you with your sales. Is that something that you are still interested in? I'd love to chat with you. If so, let me know where you're up to. Easy, done. You can, send those messages out, personalise them, make them sound professional, permission based. Fantastic. You send 5 of those out a day, you're going to start to get some bites for sure. Right, next one. Use your thank you pages in out of office. So thank you pages are prime real estate in online business, because you're getting somebody when they've already downloaded a free thing or booked something or bought something. They are in action taking mode, and so often you get a thank you page that's like, thanks, check your inbox. What a wasted opportunity. On that thank you page, put a link to a next step. Hey, while you're here, you might also be interested in X, Y, or Z, or book a call, or check out my summer special offer, or whatever it is that you want people to do. But think about your thank you page as prime real estate, and update it to include your offer. And likewise for your out of office, I've just set my out of office just before I record this podcast, and I've put a link to my everything page. I've put a link to book, I think, a WhatsApp hour with me, and I've put a link to my podcast, so that if people are contacting me because they're interested, I'm telling them when I'm going to get back to them, but I'm also giving them some stuff that they can do in the meantime. So, really think about going beyond the functional and think about giving people a next step. And then I think the final thing that I want you to think about in terms of summer sales is about consistency and pace. It is about setting consistent action goals that you can commit to, because you can keep active in them without them actually taking over. So you might say, right, each week I'm going to email my list at least once or at least twice. I am going to do 1 sales post a week or 2 sales posts a week, or I might do 15 minutes of follow-up and outreach per day. I want to make sure that I've shared my offer in 4 places every week. But think about what is enough to keep your offer and yourself visible and your sales activity moving, whilst also not being so overwhelming that you feel that you are in 24/7 hustle mode, as opposed to actually being able to enjoy some time of the summer yourself. And this stuff, you can absolutely batch a lot of it. Like, write your emails in one setting, schedule a few posts, create your follow-up list in advance. Like, I will always have a follow-up list in my phone, and I know that when I get some dead time, when I'm sitting on a train or when I'm waiting for a flight, or I've got half an hour in the morning before anybody's awake, I can just chip away and do 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but it's all set up and it's really easy for me to do. So make it easy for yourself. When you make it easy for yourself, you can do it. When you start to adopt that all or nothing thinking, like, oh, I have to spend a full day, I don't want to be in my office for the full day, sales is going to take me so much time, you're making it harder for yourself, you're putting barriers in place. So make it easy. So those are my top tips, and I hope that you will agree with me that people do buy in summer, and people will buy in summer, funnily enough, if you are selling. So I hope I've given you some ideas on how you can sell things that feel timely, that feel compelling for the right people, and how you can organise your time and your sales activity actually in a way that feels sustainable for you and in a way that feels good. Because most of us that are listening to this podcast, we started our businesses because we want freedom, because we love freedom, flexibility, time to enjoy the things that matter to us with the people that matter to us. Do not spend all summer working so hard that you get to the end and you think, oh, that just passed me by. I really believe in finding that point on the dimmer switch that you can dial down to in terms of your workload, and you can still focus absolutely on great client delivery. You don't compromise on that. And you can still focus on consistent daily sales actions and income generating tasks, but you're getting a bit scrappy with it. You are doing things slightly differently to make it work over summer. I hope that this has been a helpful episode for you. I hope it's given you some good food for thought, and I will love to hear your feedback on it. As always, tag me, let me know that you've listened. As always, go to annapayne.online/podcast and you can find the full show notes and all my resources. You can also find my annapayne.online/everything page, where you can get free resources, you can see my services, you can join my online networking free for 30 days, and you can find leads trackers, you can find ways to generate leads. You can also find my 25 set it and forget it lazy sales strategies, which could not be more timely or more perfect. Thanks so much for listening. Wherever you are, wherever you're going and whatever you're doing, let's focus on making summer a time when you do feel confident that you can make sales, when you know that people will buy, and when you know what to do to take the right sales actions in the way that work well for you and for the life that you are building. And I will see you next time on the podcast.